a tax policy that puts a flat tax in place of 20%. And you, as they've said, you get rid of the regulatory burden that's killing people. And I have a record of doing that as the governor of the state of Texas over the last 11 years. We created over 1 million jobs in that state, while America lost over 2 million jobs. So there's a very clear blueprint of how to make this work. But I want to talk about one other issue, and Congressman Paul touched on it. And it's this idea, I can on a map, diagram the problem that we've got in America today, and it's this direct line between Washington, D.C. and Wall Street. And it's the corruption that's gone on. It's the idea of TARP. It's the idea of $7.7 trillion that we didn't even know was being put into these peoples and these banks. That's what Americans are really upset with. And it's going to take an outsider who can come in to put in the model of taxes and regulation and be able to balance that budget by the year 2020 with 18% of GDP. That's what the American people want, and an outsider like Rick Perry is going to do that.
We are running short on time. I just want to ask quickly, does anyone disagree with the first part of Congressman Paul's answer there, where he said the government really shouldn't be getting involved in these broader issues of behavior?
Listen, I happen to think that the states, that's their call, not the federal government. The states should be able to make decisions on whether they, Terry, you probably have some programs here in Iowa to get, there you go, healthiest state in the nation. It should be their call. But listen, this goes back, and Congressman Paul and I, we disagree from time to time. But the real issues that we have in this country are that people are sick of Washington, D.C.
In fact, the question we get so often is, why can't people who disagree show respect for each other, and can we all work together, even people who disagree, to move the country forward? And so
we, as a form of closing statement, we just want each of you, you're all running against each other, but in these last few minutes, if you stick to the minute, we will not run over the commercial. Tell us the one thing you've learned from someone else, one of your challengers on stage.
I tell you, Congressman Paul got me really intrigued with the whole the Federal Reserve, and I've spent a substantial amount of time reading about, and Currency Wars, the book by James Rickards. But Congressman Paul is the individual on the stage that got me most interested in a subject that I've found to be quite interesting and at the root of a lot of the problems that we have, and I thank you for that. But the one thing that I've found outside of these fine individuals on this stage is that the people of this country really want to get America back on track. And Congressman King, whether it's somebody like you and your IDEA Act that we talked about the other day, there are really good men and women in this country that want to get this country back headed down the track. And they understand, Michelle, just as you've said, that this election is about the future of this country. One of the most important elections, if not the most important election, and we got to get it right.
Over to you, Governor Romney.
I always find the principle of leadership to be most interesting. And as I look at the people on the stage, each exhibits different qualities of leadership, and they've each exercised leadership in different ways. One of the things about Ron Paul that always amazes me is when I come to a debate like this, the only signs I see are the Ron Paul people out there freezing. And freezing temperatures are always there. He ignites an enthusiasm with the number of people that's very exciting to watch. In choosing a president, it's the qualities of leadership that are going to make the difference.
Well, I have learned that you should never give up on your opposition, because if you're persistent and you present your case, they will come your way. So, Rick, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's open to the Federal Reserve. But I work from the assumption that freedom brings people together. And if you understand freedom, it's based on tolerance and nonviolence. So if it's tolerance, it should be bringing all kinds of people together, and that's following our Constitution. We shouldn't be fighting among ourselves, because we shouldn't be fighting in Washington if we all take the same oath of office. Where does the fight come from? Somebody is messing up somewhere. So I would say that with persistence, I think that we can all prevail and come up with the right answers.